Welcome to another episode of the Dope Student Podcast.
Welcome back to the Dope Student Podcast, where we explore exciting careers, uncover hidden gems, and empower students with real-world experiences. My name is Dania, and I'm your guide to uncover impactful stories.
And I'm Jemiah, here to connect with our amazing guests and ask the questions that truly matter.
And I'm Noah, ready to dig into the advice and lessons that will help you unlock your potential. Together, we're here to learn, grow, and inspire.
Today, we're thrilled to have...
I'm State Representative Andre Carroll, representing the 201st Legislative District up in the Northwest section of Philadelphia.
Okay, so today we're going to be asking you some questions.
Sure.
What does a typical day look like for a state representative?
Maya, that's a good question. Every day is different, right? So as a state representative, I am privileged with the opportunity to serve 66,000 Pennsylvanians inside of Harrisburg. So at least once a month, I do go to Harrisburg, and I'm there for a few days. Outside of that, it's day-to-day activities inside of the district. It could be at an event. It could be inside of a school with you guys. There's a variation of things that happens, but every day looks different.
What inspired you to pursue a career in politics, and how did you know it was the right path for you?
Another good question. My grandmother is I was raised by my grandmother, and she's a big source of my inspirations at a lot of the things I've done in life. And she used to take me to the polls as a kid. I used to go to the polls with her. We used to vote, and we would just talk about the politicians' commercials that we seen on TV. It started with that, and I think, just a passion for serving other people took a course of its own, and somehow I ended up elected as an elected official.
What were some of the challenges you faced early in your career, and how did you overcome them?
A lot of challenges. I didn't know anything about politics as a kid, right? I don't have nobody in my family who's ever ran for office or ever has been appointed to any political position. So I didn't know this. I had to find mentors and leaders in the community that knew these things, and I had to learn from them. That's an evolution. Learning things is something that I am tasked to do every single day. So it's a continued thing, but that was a big challenge in the beginning.
Can you share a key moment or decision that shaped your journey to becoming a state representative?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Can you share a key moment or decision that shaped your journey to becoming a state representative?
Yeah, absolutely. So my dad, he spent a lot of time behind bars, and I didn't have him as a kid, and that was a big thing for me. Not having a relationship with my father because of a system that just disproportionately affects Black and brown folks in this country, and learning what decisions get made on behalf of people like us, and the difference in having my father behind bars and having him making legal money that folks are making today. It showed me that people like us who come from these communities deserve to be in those positions to make decisions on behalf of people in our community.
How has your upbringing or personal experience influenced your approach to public service?
It's everything. I've lead in my leadership through my lived experience. My lived experience is what informs my beliefs and my values. The way I vote and the way I see the world is based upon how the world has shown up for me and the people that I know.
If you could go back and give advice to your younger self, what would you say?
Don't delay. Do it today.
What's the most rewarding part of your job, and what's the most challenging?
The most rewarding thing is getting to meet everyday folks like yourself, getting a chance to hear from people like you how government impacts them, the way that they would like to see government show up for them, and what creative ways we can take. Government is what you make it. And that's the most rewarding thing, is getting a chance to get to know people, their stories, and figuring out how I can do my job better to better serve them. The most challenging thing is that, we don't have all the answers. Every single day is a new challenge. I don't know what I'm going to wake up to. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to sleep to. But given the opportunity to serve gives me the opportunity every day to try to figure it out.
How do you balance the needs of your constituents with the demands of the state legislature?
Good one, right? Government is a compromise, right? No matter what level of government you work in, is about how do you essentially get people what they're asking you for and what's realistic. You know, a big part of being in these rooms is you have the ability to make things a conversation piece, and it's about, you know, taking the issues that you commonly hear in your district and bringing them back to rooms where people who represent constituents across Pennsylvania who may not look, think, or experience the same things you experience, and how do you make a compromise that gets their people what they need and your folks what you need.
What qualities do you think are essential for someone who wants to work in public service or government?
Listening. Listening is a top quality. I truly believe you got to listen to people. You got to understand where they're coming from, because we all got a story, right? We all have an experience, and that experience defines the needs of you and your community.
How do you stay connected to the youth and their concerns while shaping policies that affect them?
We're doing this right here, coming to see you guys. You know, I also, too, am a juvenile justice advocate, and I still visit juveniles who are incarcerated. So I go up to the county prisons that's on State Road bi-weekly, and I spend time with them. A lot of them are, or actually all of them are, being tried as adults. So, you know, I do the best I can to stay connected and grounded and listen to the stories of the youth.
How can young people make a difference in their communities even if they aren't old enough to vote yet?
You know, tell your story. Your story is so powerful. I'm telling you, there's one of the other biggest reasons that really got me into government was that so many people believe that just older people exist in politics, right, or government, and that's just not true. But the reality is, a lot of the rooms I would go into, I would be the youngest person. And then what would happen is I would have people twice my age having conversations for people my age, right? And then like an individual like yourself who may be half my age, I feel like the same thing would happen to. So, you know, the best way for that not to happen is for you to tell your story, for me to hear the things that you're going through, because you're growing up in a different generation than me, and that helps me inform my decisions so that they're appropriate to your needs.
What advice would you give to students who are interested in civic engagement or leadership?
You know, that's a good one, right? When I was in high school, I remember civics class was not a core curriculum course. It was something that was an elective. And I remember I had to go talk to a counselor to get that put into my schedule because they didn't require me to take it. So unfortunately, right now, in the state of Pennsylvania, there is not a mandate that everyone takes a civics course. And that just leaves room for error because, you know, there's a lot of folks that just don't understand how government works. But there's resources, and, you know, the internet is a big place. I always encourage people to research and learn what exactly government does. You know, there's 3 levels of government: local, state, and federal, and each branch does a very different thing. And that would be my advice.
What role do you think education, especially CTE, career and technical education, plays in preparing the next generation for leadership?
I think it's everything, actually. Education, first of all, is paramount. Without education, is not really far in life. I personally feel that you're going to go, right? I think education, especially for underserved communities, is the tool that can help you escape poverty, right? And poverty is a big source of a lot of the challenges that we have in this country. But, you know, CTE, technical training, you know, is a great avenue. You know, not everyone is going to go to a 4-year university, even myself. I didn't go to college directly after high school. I went to a workforce development program, which really taught me some soft skill, hard skills, and got me, you know, co-op internships, being able to intern in some companies that I never would have ever had access to before. So there has to be alternate routes in our education, you know, pathway, and CTE, I believe, is a great one.
What's your vision for the future of Philadelphia, and how can young people play a role in achieving it?
You know, my vision for Philadelphia and Pennsylvania is that is a place for all, where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, and everyone is given an equal opportunity. And, you know, young people has always been a backbone of movements in this country. We're talking about the civil rights movement. We're talking about the women's suffrage movements. We're talking about any movement in this country, right? Even if we just talk about the recent movement as it pertains to what was happening in Palestine and Gaza, right? It's young people who led that charge. And it's young people who's always going to lead the charge in this country. I want young people to stay inspired, to keep telling their stories, and keep pushing the envelope. There is no boundary to change. And as long as young people keep actively engaging in conversation, I know this world will get better.
Can you share an inspiring story or moment from your interactions with young people in your district?
Yeah, a good one. So there's a young kid in my district. His name is Nigel. Nigel he's probably 16 now. Last time I seen Nigel, he was 15. And it's been some time. But Nigel he's adopted. Nigel he's from Africa, but he's being raised by a white woman, and he talks about seeing beyond your skin. He has a nonprofit, and he does work to be able to break racial barriers, and he inspires me every single day because Germantown, the district which is a neighborhood in the district that I represent, is a very diverse community, and I think a lot of times, especially in this political arena that we're existing in, we're being divided by some things that we can't control, and it's inspiring to see young people getting ahead of that conversation and doing impactful things to change that narrative.
How did attending Germantown High School shape your perspective and prepare you for your role as a state representative?
Actually, a funny story. So I did graduate from Germantown High School, and Germantown High School is one of the schools that has, since I graduated, been closed down in Philadelphia by a previous mayor. But it really is an essential part of the story because it shows me what divestment looks like in communities, and the fact that I don't have the neighborhood high school that I grew up in, and the fact that my district now only have 2 public high schools, and which now forces a community of 66,000 people to pick between 2 schools that's on the opposite side of the district. So it became a big part of my storytelling when it came to the campaign, and why I felt it was necessary to try something different as it pertains to who we elect. And I'm just really proud that I got a chance to attend that high school, although it's not there anymore. But Germantown is the same high school that my grandmother went to, that a lot of the other elders in my community went to, and also people as young as me had the opportunity to go to. So it's definitely a historic landmark in the district, although we don't have it anymore.
How has Germantown's rich history and diverse community influenced your approach to leadership and policymaking?
Absolutely. So, Germantown is one of the most historic neighborhoods in the country. So, the Battle of Germantown was fought on Germantown Avenue. We have Underground Railroad that's also come through Germantown. George Washington has a house that's in Germantown that he stayed through during one of the pandemics. So it's just a variation of things that happen in Germantown. We also have a lot of museums. We have a Black Writers Museum. We have the Veterans Museum. We have Let's Not Forget Slavery Museum. There's a lot of history in Germantown, and it just shows me how diverse this country is. Right, we're in a country of immigrants. Right, this is a country that is a very mixed pot, and everybody from every walks of life lives in America, and it's a benefit because you get a chance to get to know a variation of people, and that's how I lead. Listening to people's stories and understanding that there's no one size fit all solution for any problem. And we will have to continue to build on the progress and make different decisions as they come up to how we impact people's lives.
What does it mean to you to represent the Germantown section of Philadelphia in the state legislature?
It means everything. I'm born and raised in Germantown. I've been there all my life. So the house that my grandmother raised me in, I now have an opportunity to own the house. My grandmother left me the house. And, these are the neighbors who watched me grow up. A lot of their children I have now had the opportunity to watch grow up. And, it's a generational thing. And, it means a lot when you get a chance to go back to your hood, go back to your neighborhood that you grew up in. And, I'm privileged, and I'm really, honored to have an opportunity to represent people who have helped raise me.
What are some of the biggest challenges facing Germantown today, and how are you working to address them?
We got a lot of challenges. Some of the basic things, right? I'll just tell you, a lot of times y'all see on TV unemployment rates, right? The reality is that my district is the has the third highest unemployment rate in the state, right? When we're talking about the education system, right? Like I have a very big gap as it pertains to access to schools in my district, because we have magnet schools like Central and Girls High, but everybody in my district doesn't have an opportunity to go to Central and Girls High. Although Central is the closest high school to my house, I had to then travel another mile and a half to go to the neighborhood school because I wasn't able to go to Central. So education, healthcare disparities is a big thing. I lost my grandmother to liver cancer. So, not everybody has equal access to healthcare. So I've always been a big component of, healthcare for all. Been talking about that prior to even being elected to office. And then, we have other challenges, out of school time activities, right? Making sure that we have safe spaces for young people to go to when they're not in school. I don't think we're doing a great job with that. We have to be more creative in our approach and how we give access to young people and keeping them safe.
Thank you, State Representative, for sharing your story today. To our listener that are listening today, we hope any of the information that was shared with us today impact on your future. And that's it for the episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Dope Student Podcast. Stay curious and stay dope, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.